Today's shloka number 18. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Please recite after me. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Vidya. With education. Vinaya. Gentleness. Sampanne. Fully equipped. Brahmane. Brahmana. Gavi. In the cow. Hastini. The elephant. Shuni. The dog. Cha. And. Eva. Certainly. Shvapake. The dog eater. The outcast. Cha. Respectively. Panditaha. Those who are wise. Samadarshinaha. Who see with equal vision. Translation. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So in yesterday's shloka, we discussed how by acquiring this transcendental knowledge, which includes knowledge of the Supreme Lord, of the Jivatma, as well as Prakriti. Prakriti here implying the three modes of material nature, how it influences us. The Lord stated yesterday that anyone whose knowledge is fixed up in the Supreme, whose mind is fixed up in the Supreme, whose faith is fixed up in the Supreme, and whose refuge is in the Supreme, makes very quick progress on the path of liberation. That is the outcome of this transcendental knowledge. Here, as a result of acquiring such knowledge, how does such a wise person behave? So, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. So, he sees the Brahmana who is educated and gentle. He sees the cow, Gavi. He sees the Hastini, the elephant. Then Shuni, the dog, and Shwapakecha, the dog eater. Now, these 5 categories of living entities are under the influence of different modes. Externally, they have different bodies. So, what does a wise person see? The wise person is seeing 2 things. One is that they have acquired different body types and different levels of consciousness because of their desires and past karma. So it does not mean that the wise person does not know how to discriminate among the 5. What does that mean? On the one hand, he sees these differences, but on the other hand, he sees the equality as well. So how does he see this equality? He sees 2 things when he sees every Jivatma. He sees the soul and he sees the super soul. This is that Samadarshinaha, equal vision. He knows that both the soul and the super soul have the same qualities. They are both Satchit Ananda. However, he also knows that the individual soul has knowledge only about himself, whereas the super soul has knowledge of all souls. So on the one hand, he recognizes the differences on the bodily platform. On the other hand, he sees with equal vision that this living entity is a child of God. In Shloka 15:15, in the 15th chapter, again, there is a very famous shloka. Sarvasya chaham pridhisannivishto. So the Lord himself is saying, I am seated in everyone's heart. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So this is something that the wise person actually sees. So when a wise person sees a tiger, does he say, this is a child of God, let me embrace him? No. The wise person recognizes the qualities of a tiger. So here in this particular shloka, the Lord is comparing, or rather the Lord is saying that the wise person is seeing these 5 different personalities equally. A Brahmana is considered to be very pure. He is in the mode of goodness. A cow is also considered to be very pure, in the mode of goodness. Hastini, the elephant, is supposed to be under the mode of passion. The dog is under the influence of the mode of ignorance. And the dog eater is considered to be even lower than the dog. He's considered to be an outcast. But when the wise person sees these 5 different types of jivatmas, he understands immediately that there is a soul and the super soul living within. He also understands that the qualities of the soul and the super soul may be the same. However, the quantity of those qualities varies between the Paramatma and the Jivatma. So this is a very important shloka for us, a shloka that is worth memorizing in terms of how is it that one truly understands this transcendental knowledge, one becomes fixed up in Krishna consciousness, and therefore you see everybody with equal vision. But that does not mean you see them as being equal. You just see them with equal vision. So that's the essence of this shloka, shloka number